Has the news been getting you down? I'm Megan McArdle, and I'm here to help. I'm the host of a news show from Washington Post Opinion called Reasonably Optimistic, and it's an antidote to the pessimism that's riddling America right now. Every Wednesday, I'm going to talk to people who see a path forward.
It does seem to me that there is some awakening of a desire to act together, to solve problems where they are.
I am a believer in America, and it's worth fighting for.
Join me Wednesdays on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spedden, joined as always by Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens. And on tonight's episode, we'll be joined by Steve Melewski to break down everything that's going on in Orioles camp. But first, this episode is brought to you by IQ Bar, our exclusive snack, hydration, and coffee sponsor. IQ Bar protein bars, IQ Mix hydration mixes, and IQ Joe mushroom coffees are the delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel you need to win your day. The Ultimate Sampler Pack is a great way to try all IQ Bar products and flavors. You get 9 IQ Bars, 8 IQ Mix sticks, and 4 IQ Joe sticks. All IQ Bar products are clean label certified and entirely free from gluten, dairy, soy, GMOs, and artificial ingredients. All IQ Bar products are packed with clean, delicious ingredients to keep you physically and mentally fit, like magnesium, lion's mane, and more. With over 25,000 five-star reviews and counting, more people than ever are fueling their busy lifestyles with IQ Bar's brain and body boosting bars, hydration mixes, and mushroom coffees. Their Ultimate Sampler Pack includes all 3. IQ Bars become part of my daily routines, whether it's starting my morning with IQ Joe, grabbing an IQ Bar, or IQ Mix to refuel or rehydrate after a hard workout. And right now, IQ Bar is offering our special podcast listeners 20% off all IQ Bar products, including the Ultimate Sampler Pack, plus free shipping. To get your 20% off, text MLB to 64,000. Text MLB to 64,000. That's MLB to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. See terms for details. And tonight's guest, you have been reading for decades his coverage of the Orioles. He was at Masson for a long time. He's now at Substack. Steve on baseball. We've had him on the show a few times. We're happy to welcome back. He is Steve Melewski. Steve, how are you?
What's up, guys? Good to be with you tonight.
Good to have you back on. And I just got to start with this question, which is that we're not all the way through spring training yet, but we have seen a few weeks of Orioles baseball. And while they don't have their full roster intact because of the WBC, we've still seen some players get off to promising starts. How are you feeling about the team right now?
I mean, I'm feeling reasonably optimistic. We're not going to know much for a couple weeks. The thing about spring training, I've covered so many. There's always going to be a guy who hits 450 in spring training who starts 2 for 20, and a guy who hit 180 in spring training who's 10 for 20. And it's just crazy how that happens. Spring training means different things to different people. Pete Alonso is going to treat it a lot differently than, say, Kobe Mayo maybe trying to win a job, and Pete obviously has a job. So it's hard to judge because the other teams have that similar thing going on, and sometimes you're playing some of their frontline players, and sometimes you're not. But it's nice to see good signs. You like to see a team get a few wins. You like to see team being healthy, and, knock on wood, since early in camp, it's been pretty healthy. So hopefully it stays that way for another week and a half.
How many questions have you got about Vance Honeycutt making the team after his start?
Well, he's not going to make the team, so anyone asking that is not paying attention because he hasn't hit in high A yet, so he's got a few steps. But, I mean, that was amazing to see, and I'm really happy for him. I talked to him at length a couple times last year, and I was very impressed. I mean, I sat with him in Aberdeen in April for a podcast interview, and I said, Vance, no interview with you that's this long is going to go on without someone asking you about strikeouts. You know it's coming, and it's on your resume, and, how's it going? What do you say about it? And he said, I expect those questions, and I welcome them. And he realized that's the mark against him on the resume, and he's got to get better at it. So he actually didn't. He went on to have a 40 K rate in high A, which is, that's not good at all. So I mean, it's a real surprise to see him doing what he's doing, but I hope it foretells a good season. I don't even know, will they send him to just skip him to Double-A, or I mean, he really hasn't mastered High-A yet. If you look at last year at Aberdeen, so maybe he's going to Frederick. I don't know. Either way, I just hope he's healthy because my gosh, the tools are loud, and he's a great kid, and I think I see no ego there for a first-round draft pick, and so I'd love to see him have a great year.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about how even just nice to have that confidence boost going into the season after the season he had last year. But for real, are there any competitions left for like the final bench spot on the roster, final bullpen spot on the roster? How are you feeling about those final fringes of the roster as we get so close to the regular season now?
I mean, they have revealed so little so far. They've revealed Trevor Rogers is number one, but they haven't revealed after that. I think the media is lining it up and obviously assuming Kyle Bradish is number two, and we'll see guys after that. We still don't know. Is it 5-man? Is it a 6-man? What are the final bullpen roles? I mean, there's some guys who can be optioned. There's some guys who can't. I mean, they haven't committed to Kobe Mayo as the third baseman. We're assuming that. I mean, Weston Wilson's had a pretty good camp, and there are some others they like. So I think they still have nearly 50 guys as of we record this on their spring roster. So a lot of cuts to make. Still some things to be decided. Again, we're assuming some of this, but sometimes when you assume, you're not right.
I think Timothy Park there in the chat, he's got our next question we were going to ask about the bullpen. I know you've written about it a couple of times on your Substack since spring started. Now that we're just a couple of days away from spring, I know Kittredge has the injury, but that doesn't seem like it's going to be anything too serious there. I think he's already been throwing in bullpens on the side there. But how does the bullpen look to you as we head into this regular season?
I'm worried too, like that gentleman said. I mean, I have concerns. First of all, Helsley was not good in the second half last year, and they cleaned up on his fastball. So will he be his old self? Because 2 years ago he led the major leagues in saves. That guy would look really good there. And then Cano, he's had a good camp. He's made some adjustments with his pitches, but he was not good for most of last year. From the left side, they seem a little short. Are they carrying a third lefty? We thought Povich had a chance. He's been optioned. Is Suarez going to make it? He had that disastrous outing, a week or so ago. So I think there's a lot of questions there. And that bullpen, though, I see a lot of depth that I like in Nunez and some others who are not going to probably make opening day, but some optionable pieces that really throw well and have a chance to impact this bullpen over 6 months. So I like the depth. It's unproven depth, but it's quality depth, I think, in some of these young guys who have yet to get their chance. I think they're going to do some nice things and maybe enough to be a solid bullpen for 6 months.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Elias has proven the ability to put together a solid bullpen with waiver claims and minor league pitchers. Do you see them potentially going out and having a waiver claim or making a trade for somebody here as camp ends? They did it a couple years ago with Danny Coulomb.
Would not surprise me in the least. They'll be scouring that, and if the Orioles see even a small upgrade, they'll probably pull the trigger because any upgrade is good, right? And so, I think Rico Garcia is one guy who can't be optioned. Do you keep him? Do you risk losing a guy because he's out of options? That may help them determine the makeup of the opening day bullpen. But then, as we know, it won't be but 2 or 3 days in the season. There'll be something will happen. There'll be a roster move. Or maybe they'll try to hold off a starter. People have been talking about 6 starters. I'm like, I don't see that with all the off days. How are you going to do that? I mean, it just doesn't add up to me. So what does that mean for Eflin? Is he in the bullpen? Is he going to pitch a couple weeks in the farm? So all these questions are going to be answered here over the next 10 days.
It actually gets into something I wanted to ask you about, which is we did see Eflin throw on Sunday, and the rain shortened what was up to that point a pretty good outing for him. Do you think that the Orioles sense that he could be ready on opening day, or do they see this more as kind of a slow play where maybe he does start the year in the minors with a few rehab starts to get him built up, and then you just kind of kick the question of what role he's going to fill down the road a few weeks.
I mean, they go 2 or 3 weeks into this. Let's say they do start him on the IL. Whose spot is he taking? I mean, it could be 5 guys pitching well. What do you do then? Good problem to have, I guess. But, Masson did a nice, little graphic, or maybe it was a video from previous years where they showed the arm angle dropping in the last year or two, and that obviously kind of hurt the sink, which is so big for Zach Eflin. When he got that 33%, he got the right sink. And I was just encouraged when we interviewed him a month or two ago by Zoom, and he talked about how great he felt. He hadn't felt this well in a couple years, hadn't been able to throw with his old mechanics. Obviously, he was dancing around that back injury for a number of months, and it obviously contributed to last year. We know how good he can look when he's right. So what a boost that would be to the rotation if the old Zach Eflin, the one who started opening day for the Orioles, is back. The one who finished top 10 a couple years ago in the Cy Young for Tampa Bay.
And I got to say, he's looked pretty good. I know we've only seen him a couple times, but the velocity's up. Seems like the swing and miss is up from opposing hitters. So it's a good start, at least.
It is. And the hidden thing with me with these veterans, the Orioles really scored well. I mean, from Alonso to Ward to Eflin to Helsley, they've got a group of older players who really like mentoring the younger guys and who really don't stray from leadership. And over the years, I have people who, some of the analytics folks look at the data and don't have data for chemistry or leadership. But I've also interviewed a number of ball players over the years who have told me that is vital to have it, and when you don't, something's missing. So I think when we started to look at the Orioles late last year, we started to say, is this young core ready to lead the group? And maybe they were, maybe they weren't, but now they don't have to. Gunnar, just go be a ball player. Catch the ball at short and do your thing. Adley, bounce back. Hauser, make the plays in center. You guys don't have to lead it. We got this group over here to do that. So over the years, we've seen great leadership in the Oriole clubhouse in recent years, and it came from the older guys. Kyle Gibson, James McCann was a clubhouse leader who didn't even play every day, but the team respected him and followed his lead so much. So those kind of guys, which the Orioles now have them, several of them, I think is going to have a real positive effect.
So just the focus on Heston Kjerstad for a moment. He's had a really good spring. What do you make of what we've seen from him in camp so far? And is there even an outside chance right now that he cracks the opening day roster?
For me, not without an injury, because you got 2 guys ahead of him in right field and 1 in left. So I think the best thing for Heston would be to go to AAA, just show his health and reestablish his value, reestablish his career. I think I lost power for a second, guys. Hartford County.
Uh-oh. Heston Kjerstad, if we're going to kill some time, try to get Steve back here. I agree with where he was going with his answer here. Like, let him go back down to AAA. Just continue to get every day at bat. That's probably more important right now than securing one of the last bench spots in Baltimore. I think he's going to want to get into the swing of things, get some kind of groove on, and rebound. And he's officially gone. And, Kjerstad, he's hitting the ball well, so let him continue that, and then when the need arises, which I'm sure it will, bring him up.
Yeah, if you put Kjerstad on the opening day roster, on one hand, it's a good thing because he is back in the majors, but if he's only going to be playing 2 or 3 days a week, that's not really going to benefit him, especially coming off the season he had last year. The other aspect of this, and this is something we talked about with Jake Rill last week, is you don't have a center fielder outside of Leody Taveras and Colton Cowser in that mix. So if you're going to put Kjerstad on, who comes off? On the surface, Leody Taveras is the easy pick to take off the roster, but then you don't have a backup center fielder, which you need, especially given Cowser has never played a full season in the majors there, although I'm confident he can do it defensively, and he had a lot of injuries last year.
He looks like he's in good shape, good spirits, moving well. We might never know what the issue was last year, and that's fine. Like, if it was something personal, just let it be, and luckily he's healthy now and can continue his career forward. At least reestablish enough value to potentially if there's no longer a fit on the Orioles, just because guys have kind of, like Beavers, have come and passed him up, and he's out of options after this year. Maybe they can find a Kyle Stowers type of trade at some point during the season.
Yeah, and I don't think that would be the worst possible outcome at this point. And I'll just put this out there while we wait for Steve. Are you guys feeling good about Dylan Beavers at this point?
I was going to bring up whatever we were talking about the other week. I was going to bring him up as not concerned at all, but like was definitely hoping to see a little more from him, because you feel like we've been seeing some good stuff from Adley and pretty much a lot of the bats and arms, and there's really no one that I was looking at like with real concern so far this spring. And Beavers, again, it wasn't a concern, but it was like I kind of wanted to just see more with the bat. And then since then, in the last week, he's had, he hit a home run, had a couple of doubles, I think. He's been looking really good. So I feel fantastic about where Dylan Beavers is at. Colton Cowser's had a couple of good hits as well. I think these guys are hitting lefties. These guys are putting the ball over the fence. I feel good where this outfield is at right now, which is, it just all feels just so weird. Like the injury stuff, the who's performing well. Adley, I feel like over the last couple of days especially, has just been knocking the cover off the ball. It almost all just feels too good right now, which is scary, to be honest.
It's funny, right? Because spring, you were paying so close attention. They're getting just 2, maybe 3 at-bats early on, and players like Beavers were scuffling early, Cowser as well, but they're clearly working on things. Short sample size. Steve is back, hooray. But
Hey.
at least these guys are getting hot at the right time. Just talking about Dylan Beavers and Colton Cowser and how they've kind of gotten better results as camp has gone on. But we lost you in the middle of your Hessing first hat answer.
Well, I think we got a bad storm rolling through Hartford County, so I don't often lose power, and if I do, it's usually quick like that. Fingers crossed. But Heston just needs to stay healthy, reestablish the value, keep the defense steady, and I think something will happen, as they say. It has a way of working out. Something will happen that he'll get a chance. But if he goes to AAA and he just hits for 2 months, plays 50 games, I'm okay with that. He's missed so much time. It's okay. It's okay for him to take a little while to ramp up. I don't think they're going to need him right away, and I think they hope that too. And I just want health for that kid because he's been through so darn much.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/try now.
Absolutely. And Steve, every year I've been a huge fan of your top 20 international prospect list that you do. First on Masson, now you've carried that over to the Substack, and you just released it a day or two ago, I believe. So could you tell our listeners about the list and how this part of the system has evolved since you started doing this list 5 years ago?
Well, here's the background on it. I was one day talking to myself, and I said, Self, everybody has a top 30. Anybody ever do anything on international top 20 or 30? And I said, I don't ever see that. I see the international guys in a top 30, but I don't see a separate list for international. So I approached some people in with the club and outside of it and said, would this be a good thing to do? Could I get some help doing it? What do you guys think? And I think a lot of people felt it would be a great way to showcase the Orioles international program right at a time when it was getting better. So this list in 2026 is so much better than the initial list as they keep building and filling this thing out. To the point now, Elias and Kobe Perez have signed 10 players to $1 million or more bonuses. 10. Remember when one would have seemed like an unbelievable thing for the Baltimore Orioles. Now there's 10. 8 of them are on this list. There's 2 players who have signed for $2 million or more on this list. They have 4 pitchers are in the top 11. We have, including one from the 2026 class. As you guys know, the 2026 class had 4 million-dollar players in one class. The Orioles have never done anything like that. They have 4. They're all on this list, and so is Andre Hidalgo, who didn't quite get $1 million, but is highly regarded, a lefty who can touch 98. So I'm so excited by this list this year. 3 of these players, Basayo, De Leon, and Mejia, have already been ranked in somebody's top 100 at some point in time. I think Aaron Estrada is going to be a 4th before too long. And it's just a great list. And as I said in an interview earlier today, Basayo was the first. He will be far from the last. And for the Orioles to maintain winning, as Elias says, we don't want to rebuild again. We want to keep winning, even though they kind of had a pothole last year. Big one. The international will be so important. It'll help keep the minor league system highly ranked, top 12, 10, 8, 6, whatever, and just keep that pipeline coming. And so I think Kobe Perez is fantastic. Elias, he does some of the scouting himself. That's been big for the Orioles, where they can say, our GM is in a Dominican for the next week. And so he goes over there. And so Elias and Kobe have built out a nice staff of scouts who are really good now. Everybody knows them. And when the Orioles show up in the Dominican or Venezuela, it's business as usual now, and the players know to expect them, and they've got a check in hand. They're ready to go. So pretty exciting for me. And I roll out this list in 4 parts. Number 1 guy, it's still Basayo, but soon he's going to finally exhaust his prospect eligibility, and we're going to have to find somebody else. 2 through 10 I rolled out in the last day or two. Next week or later this week I'll have 11 through 20, and then I'll have a 4th part of this long series to kind of wrap it up and throw some notes out and talk about the list this year. And as you guys know, being long-winded because I love this topic, 11 of the Orioles' current top 30 on Baseball America are from international. And I'll add one caveat. We did not put Wilfrey De La Cruz on this list because he was not originally signed by the Orioles. These are 20 players who were originally signed with the Orioles. De La Cruz would be in the top 10 if we were to rank him against these guys. So that's a strong top 20 without a player who the Cubs gave a couple $1 million to and the Orioles acquired last year. So it's a great list, I think.
Absolutely. And it's exciting for us, too, as longtime Orioles fans. This is just, it's still new to us, even all these years later. But this spring has been really fun because we got to see Luis De Leon have his 97-mile-per-hour sinker really impress. And then Aaron Estrada has looked good in his brief time at the big leagues, hitting the ball hard, made actually a nice play or two at second base. So that's only going to continue to be more and more present as time goes on.
The Orioles had a game. It was probably their 3rd or 4th, 5th game of spring training. They go to the bottom of the 9th tied. Estrada leads off, 111-mile-an-hour double. Jordan Sanchez, 1 or 2 batters later, 106 up the middle. Orioles walk it off, Estrada and Sanchez. Even in spring training, that's pretty cool to see. And I've heard that Sanchez has been tearing up the backfields in Florida. The Orioles think he's poised for a huge year, this Cuban outfielder. And they're waiting for guys like Thomas Sosa and Josh Lorenzo and Steven Martinez, who've showed flashes, to finally step on the pedal and be consistent. And so if some of this comes with this 26 class, with pitchers like De Leon and Mejia, I mean, it's going to get real fun watching these prospects.
What did you make of this year's class? It was, of course, they gave out a lot of big contracts, but it was on the smaller end, just 10 players announced originally on January 15th. They've signed a couple of more guys since then, probably much smaller deals, obviously. But is that a sign that the organization is very confident in their scouting and player development on the international side, or is this just knowing how the international process takes? It takes years to form relationships with these guys and get these kids signed. Is this just how it happened to line up this year, or is there a bigger takeaway from this smaller class?
I think it's a one-year thing because the Orioles gave out $4 million contracts. That ate up a big chunk of that, and then Hidalgo got a pretty good bonus. The next thing you know, you look up, you have 5 or 6 guys who have taken up 60, 70, 80% of the bonus pool. And the Orioles were okay with that because they feel like they got a real quality 10 or 12 guys. And they're always usually, and I'm not sure how it works out this year. I think they've eaten up a lot of their money. Sometimes they hold money back. I mean, Sanchez was one of those guys who got $450K late in the process. De Leon got $30K, believe it or not, that's his bonus, late in the process. So they keep scouting all year and watching these guys, and if they have a little money left, some guys might even take $10,000, which doesn't count against your pool. You can take a flyer on a guy late, and some of those flyers work out in the international market. So I think it was a one-year strategy. It worked out that way because these players, it's not so much what the Orioles think they should earn. Sometimes it's what the industry thinks they should earn. And if a guy's got 8 or 10 clubs who want to throw money at him, you got to up your offer, to get him. So I think that's how they played it. Kobe Perez has told me he's not against having that 1 year where they have a $4 million guy and he's, might only have 6 guys in that class. He's not against that, but I think he likes either that 25 player class or a strong 10, 12, 14 player class like this year. But again, it doesn't mean they won't do that 1 year, throw $4 million or something crazy at a guy, because that's what the top guys can get now. But that year hasn't happened yet.
And then you can have guys like Starlin Miesis, who signed last February or March for, I'm sure, not a lot of money, and he came out and had a strong year and is getting noticed by people. I wonder if the timing, because like we said, it takes some time for the international relationships to build. I wonder if the development of the new Dominican Republic complex that they had built, which is really nice just from looking at pictures and videos, I wonder if that had anything to do with being able to entice this many million-plus guys.
Well, it sure doesn't hurt to have some of the best facilities in the international market, which the Orioles now have. It doesn't hurt that the Orioles do things like educate these young men, help them get their high school degrees. I've written that a lot about numerous players from their international have now graduated on the Orioles watch. They have some tremendous people who work in their education programs. So they're trying to do everything for these kids to do right by them. And I think the baseball world is noticing that. The parents are noticing that in the Dominican and Venezuela. They want to turn their kids over to someone who's going to do right by their young son. And the Orioles are doing that. They're getting the reputation for that. And so, you have to be good at scouting them. You have to take care of them when you get them. You have to educate them if that's what they want to do. You have to teach them how to handle the culture when they come to the United States, some of them for the first time and don't speak the language that well yet. So there's just a lot. Some of them are 140 pounds, like Estrada, and now he's 202, by the way. So I sat next to him at Aberdeen, and I said, this kid ain't a 140. And when I asked him what his weight was, he was honest to tell me, I'm now 202. And so we saw that last year at the Pop, that he's now developing. It's coming. And the Orioles knew as he got bigger, it would come. And they didn't force it on him. They said, be a good hitter, learn the strike zone, and then as you get older, we'll refine your launch angle a little bit. We'll work on little tweaks with your bat path that'll help you drive the ball better. And Estrada just ate it up. And when I interviewed him with interpreting help, I thought, this kid's delightful, man. He's just his personality is like Basayo. I think when he gets here, and I think he will, fans are going to find out. They got another guy with a big smile who's just so engaging, and I was just I left that meeting going, wow, I love this kid, and he's that kind of kid. And as fans get to know him in Baltimore, they're going to find out a lot more about Aaron Estrada.
Love it. Zooming out and just kind of looking at the minor league system as a whole. You're there at the parks very often, interviewing these guys, having them on your show as well. Do you have anybody at the top of your list, outside of the bigger name prospects in the system, like the top guys? Do you have anybody at the top of your list that you're particularly excited to have on your show or dive into and introduce to Birdland?
Wow, great question. I mean, I'd like to get a chance to interview Micah Ashman after his WBC performance. That was pretty special what he was doing the other night. I was awesome. Like, what? This kid's shutting down every big name in this lineup. That was awesome. So one thing I like about the minors, and I'm sure you guys do too, is there's always going to be some surprises. And there's always going to be guys I've been interviewing for 3 years who now they have that big year. And I'm like, oh, man, I haven't talked to that kid in a year and a half, but he's hitting 300 at Chesapeake. I better get down there and do it. So I just love it. I just love the fact that, I love to interview the kids who may never make it, but they're having a big year. And I like to find out what they're doing, what they think about the Orioles, how they're working with them. And so that's how I met Ryan Miner one time. I interviewed, Ryan Ripken. I interviewed Ryan Miner a lot of times too. May he rest in peace. But I interviewed Ryan Ripken in Aberdeen, and he wasn't tearing it up, but his name was Ripken, and he was a great kid. And that's the first time I ever met him, when he walked out years ago in the clubhouse in Aberdeen, and I said, there's no mistaking whose kid you are, young man. There is no mistaking, because I said, I interviewed your dad when he was your age, and that's what he looked like. It's great to see Ryan Ripken doing what he's doing in this marketplace right now too. But so I love the Miners. Can you guys tell? And so last year doing the Substack, because I was so busy between radio shows and traveling and major league games, I was losing touch with the Miners. I was talking on the phone with people, but I wasn't seeing it for myself. And I wasn't sitting across from guys like Aaron Estrada and Enrique Bradfield and the whole group of them. Advanced Honeycutt in Aberdeen and Michael Ferretta had long interviews. And I got to know Trey Gibson so well last year by going out and sitting with the kid for a half hour at Double-A. That's how you get to know him. I did that with Gunnar Henderson. I did it with Jordan Westberg. I did it with Colton Cowser, all those guys. That's how you get to know them. And I think they really appreciate you when they walk in the Baltimore clubhouse and go, that's the guy I sat with at Bowie for an hour 2 years ago. And so I just love doing it, and you find out how special some of these kids are.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. And before my internet, I think we're both in Hartford County, so the storms are coming in. But I was going to say, how cool is it that on the international front, Elio Prado, Nolberth Romero, not only did they, develop in the Orioles system, but they retired, and now they're brought in as coaches. So
keep the pipeline going, man, and keep many years I've seen. I mean, Buck Britton, I knew Buck was not going to make the major leagues, but I was like, this kid, if he ever wants to coach or something, he's got it, because Buck Britton was just a great clubhouse presence in Double-A. He was a leader. He kept it loose. He was fun, and he gave his career everything it had. It just wasn't going to have enough to get him all the way. But when I told his brother he'll be a manager one day in the big leagues, you can see it coming. He's that smart. He's that good. He's that driven. And so Zach made a name one way. Buck's making it a different way. But they're both in the great sport of baseball.
I just have one more question, real quick. I know for me. To go back to the Major League side real quick to wrap up, given your time covering this organization, and I feel like you provide a definitely unique perspective among all the voices out there in this space because of your passion for the Orioles as well. So I'm curious, on the Major League side of things, are there any specific storylines you're particularly excited about or interested in seeing play out as the regular season starts next week?
I mean, Craig Albernaz is a great storyline. How's this thing going to go? The first time they lose 5 in a row, what's it going to be like for him and Alonso with that team? Everything's, rosy when it's spring training and everybody's still getting to know each other. And so when things go wrong, that's when you really start to find out how it's going to go. But I think a good storyline is the young core. We all know who we're talking about. What kind of year do they have? Because let's face it, their underperformance collectively last year, along with injuries to the pitching staff, derailed the program. A couple guys did not, even Gunnar filled up the stat sheet, but it was nothing like his 2024. So now he looks like the 2024 version. If the Orioles get that Gunnar, that's the high 800 OPS Gunnar. I mean, wow, this could really be fun. So that's a great storyline. The collective group of young players, how do they do? How they mesh with the older guys, and does it make for the perfect mix? It seems like there's potential to be that the answer to that question is yes. And get healthy pitching and that young and old group meshing in that clubhouse, producing runs. I mean, this might be a team that can score 5 or 6 runs a night, and so that could be fun to watch. And baseball never runs out of storylines, thankfully for us. We look at it and go, 162 games, oh my God, how am I going to cover this? and there's always something to write about, talk about, learn about. And even at my age, I'm 66 now, I just love it. I'm not ready to walk away from this by any stretch. That's why I started the Substack. I love doing it. Last year was a pleasure for me to get back to the minors as much as I did and still know the guys in the Major League clubhouse. So, yep, I'm from Baltimore. I grew up loving this team, and I want to see them win again. Wouldn't it be great to cover October baseball one more time?
Can't wait to share a beer with you at the World Series celebration, Steve.
Let's do it. Not just one, my friend.
Perfectly stated, and thank you so much, Steve, for joining us. Before you go, I think most of our listeners by now know where to find your Substack, but can you just kind of throw out a plug real quick and let them know what's coming up, not just for written articles, but also your podcast?
Well, hopefully John Melewski will become a subscriber here very soon at some point. As I see, he's next on your hit list here. But John was one of the guys I talked to about Substack before I did it, and I've had a great time doing it. Am I going to get rich doing that? No. But am I going to have maybe more fun than I've ever had? The answer might be yes to that. So steveonbaseball.substack.com is where you find me. You guys have a very successful one, too, going there. John Eisenberg. So we got kind of the Orioles covered with all kinds of aspects for our Substack. So I think we're all doing well. And Substack is just really taking off. It's a good time to be there because it seems like the whole world has got one, at this point. And it's going well, so I hope people follow me because I have almost daily articles on the O's, which will be daily when the season starts, a podcast, videos, the whole ball of wax. It's a great multimedia kind of site, and so they can find me at steveonbaseball.substack.com.
That does it for this episode. We will be back later on this week with John Melewski of the Baltimore Banner. In the meantime, you can check out our many social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch. We're also over at Substack, OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. And while you're browsing around the internet, be sure to head over to Patreon.com. Sign up to become a member today. It's $3, $5, or $10 levels. You'll have access to bonus coverage from Bob, Nick, and myself throughout the regular season, as well as monthly updates to our top 50, access to patron-only chats within our Discord channel, and a whole lot more. So be sure to check that out at Patreon.com tonight. For Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens and Zach Spedden, you've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, part of the Believe Podcast Network.
Stop. If you know what the rose is, this is for you. And if you don't, listen closer. Meet Lem by Hello Nancy. Yes, it looks like a lemon, but it's anything but innocent. Every 25 seconds, someone discovers Lem. With 500,000 customers and a 4.7 star rating, women say it's toe-curling and mind-blowing. It's whisper quiet and completely discreet, so no one hears a thing and no one knows what it is. Go to HelloNancy.com for 50% off this Valentine's Day. Once you try it, you'll understand.
The Bleacher Report app is your destination for sports. Right now, the NBA is heating up, March Madness is here, and MLB is almost back. Every day there's a new headline, a new highlight, a new moment you've got to see for yourself. That's why I stay locked in with the Bleacher Report app. For me, it's about staying connected to my sports. I can follow the teams I care about, get real-time scores, breaking news, and highlights all in one place. Download the Bleacher Report app today so you never miss a moment.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.